Line-by-line explanation of the poem A Wife in London by Thomas Hardy.
The tragedy. Line 1. She sits in the tawny vapor. The first line introduces us to the wife who is sitting in a foggy, melancholic atmosphere. The term tawny vapor evokes a sense of dullness and confusion, suggesting a fog or mist that envelopes her. The use of tawny, a yellow-brown color, may also symbolize decay and sadness. This sets the tone for the poem, indicating that the wife is immersed in a state of grief and emotional fog. Line 2. That the Thames side lanes have uprolled. Here, Hardy describes how the fog has rolled over the lanes by the Thames, enveloping everything in its path. The word uprolled suggests that the fog has come up suddenly, as though nature itself is obstructing vision and clarity. This contributes to the feeling of disorientation and uncertainty, both for the wife and the reader. The fog here symbolizes the emotional confusion the wife is experiencing. Line 3. Behind whose webby fold on fold. The fog is described as having layers or folds, like a webby texture. This image evokes the idea of entrapment or being caught in a web, symbolizing the wife's emotional and mental entrapment. It is as if she is physically and mentally obscured by the fog, unable to see or understand what is happening around her. Line 4. Like a waning taper. This simile compares the street lamp's light to a waning taper, which refers to a candle burning down to its last flicker. This comparison suggests that the light is weak and fading, symbolizing the wife's diminishing hope or emotional strength. It portrays the feeling of something precious or vital slowly dying out, further intensifying the sense of despair. Line 5. The street lamp glimmers cold. The street lamp, which is a faint and cold glimmer of light, contrasts with the warmth or comfort that might typically be associated with light. The word cold emphasizes the lack of warmth or comfort, reinforcing the wife's emotional isolation and the coldness of her situation. It also enhances the sense of desolation and hopelessness. Line 6. A messenger's knock cracks smartly. The sharp sound of the messenger's knock breaks the silence of the wife's solitude. This crack suggests a sudden, jarring event that interrupts her quiet morning, introducing a new element into the story. The quick, smart knock conveys urgency, hinting that something important is about to unfold. Line 7. Flashed news in her hand. The messenger delivers the news quickly, perhaps in an impersonal manner, as the word flashed implies rapidity. The news, though brief, is of great importance, and the quickness with which it is delivered suggests that it is something the wife must process quickly, even though she may not be ready for it. Line 8. Of meaning it dazes to understand. The wife struggles to understand the meaning of the news she has just received. The word dazes suggests that the news is overwhelming, and she is left in a state of confusion. This reflects the shock and disbelief that often accompany tragic news, particularly when it is unexpected. Line 9. Though shaped so shortly. The news, though brief in its delivery, carries great emotional weight. The word shortly implies that the message is concise, yet its impact is profound. This highlights the disparity between the simplicity of the message's form and the enormity of its meaning. Line 10. He has fallen, in the far south land. This is the revelation, her husband has died. The phrase he has fallen is a euphemism for death, often used in the context of war or battle. The far south land indicates that her husband has died in a distant place, far from home. The dramatic pause after he has fallen emphasizes the shock of the news. This moment reveals the central theme of the poem, the unexpected loss of a loved one. The irony. Line 11. 'Tis the morrow, the fog hangs thicker. The poem shifts to the following day, but the fog remains, now even thicker than before. This thickening fog reflects the wife's deepening grief and confusion. Time has passed, but the emotional weight of the loss only intensifies, reinforcing the ongoing nature of her sorrow. Line 12. The postman nears and goes. The arrival of the postman signifies another mundane, routine event. However, it is fraught with emotional significance for the wife, as it marks the arrival of yet another letter. The phrase nears and goes indicates the fleeting nature of this event, yet it carries the potential for something important. Line 13. A letter is brought whose lines disclose. The postman delivers a letter, and the wife begins to read it. The word disclose suggests that the letter will reveal something significant, likely further information about her husband's death or the life he had hoped for before his passing. Line 14. By the firelight flicker. The letter is read by the flickering firelight, an image that contrasts with the coldness of the street lamp earlier in the poem. The firelight represents warmth and comfort, suggesting that, even in the midst of her grief, the wife may find a small measure of solace in the tangible presence of her husband's words. Line 15. His hand, whom the worm now knows. The letter is written in the hand of her husband, but the phrase whom the worm now knows indicates his death and burial. The worm is a metaphor for decay, representing the irreversible reality of his physical absence. This line is a stark reminder that the husband is no longer alive, adding to the sense of finality and loss. Line 16. Fresh, firm, penned in highest feather. The handwriting is described as fresh and firm, conveying the vitality and strength of the husband when he wrote the letter. It contrasts sharply with the knowledge of his death. The use of highest feather suggests the beauty and strength of his writing, adding to the poignancy of the letter's message. Line 17. Page full of his hoped return. The letter contains the husband's hope to return home, a desire for reunion. The phrase hoped return highlights the contrast between the future he had imagined and the tragic reality. This idealized vision of the future makes the wife's grief even more painful, as the life they had planned together will never come to pass. Line 18. And of home-planned jaunts of break and burn. The husband writes about future plans, home-planned jaunts of break and burn. The activities mentioned evoke images of outdoor adventures and joyful times ahead. These are all future experiences that the wife will never share with him. The phrase captures the lost possibilities and dreams. Line 19. In the summer weather. The mention of summer weather evokes a sense of renewal and warmth, contrasting with the cold reality of her husband's death. Summer symbolizes growth, life, and future happiness, all of which now remain unfulfilled for the wife. Line 20. And of new love that they would learn. The husband speaks of a new love that they would learn together, which suggests a desire for continued emotional connection and growth in their relationship. This idealized future, full of love and new experiences, is tragically cut short by his death, further deepening the wife's sorrow and sense of loss. Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.